Hello and happy game day. Welcome to Gameday U, OU's only weekly football pregame show live on TV. I'm your host, Kaylee Jo Hommel, and joined with me are Emily LeBeth, Aiden Tyler, and Britton Ross. Now, before we can talk tonight's Cougar competition, we're going to flash back to last Friday. The Owls hoped to be a temple of doom, but really proved to be a temple of boom for the Sooners. On this first possession, first touchdown for OU in the SEC era, and first touchdown for tight end Bauer Sharp in the Crimson and Cream. Now Tyler Keltner with a 50-yard field goal at the end of the first. You're going to hear more about him later on, and you're going to hear more about wide receiver Deion Burks. This is his third touchdown of the game before the first half was even over with. Now, we're going to take it all the way to the fourth quarter, where right here, Temple's Dante Wright, he's going to catch the punt return. But wait, just wait. He's going to fumble it right here. And who's going to recover it? None other than Jared Kanik. He picks it up and takes it all the way to the house. The Sooners score one more touchdown after this, bringing final score to 51-3 OU. I said it last week, watch out for the tight ends. They looked sharp because of Bauer Sharp. The Southeastern Louisiana transfer was the leading receiver for the Sooners with 47 yards on 5 catches. Oh, and how can you forget he scored the first touchdown for Oklahoma as an SEC team?
The tight ends were definitely getting some attention, but we have to talk about this Sooner defense. They had 6 turnovers, 2 picks, and 4 forced fumbles. OU had 6 forced fumbles all of last season, and every single turnover was converted into points.
And Temple was held to just 197 total yards. The last time OU held an opponent to less than 200 yards? Back in 2021 against Western Carolina. The Sooners defense is off to a good start after allowing 389 yards a game last season.
The run game for OU was pretty eye-opening to me. Even with how banged up the offensive line was, the Sooners still ran for 220 yards, led by true freshman Taylor Tatum with 69 yards on just 5 carries. Plus, Tatum had the only rushing touchdown of the night.
But now let's flip to the future and what's on deck for tonight. The Cougars are under first-year head coach Willie Fritz, who gave OU a run for their money the last time he came to Norman. OU head coach Brent Venables recognizes Fritz's strengths as a head coach ahead of facing his new team.
Coach Fritz's teams, the last 2 years, they're 10-0 in true road games. So he knows how to get his guys ready. The last time they were here representing Tulane at the time, obviously it went down to the wire. And we were able to pull it out 40-35. Ought to be a good matchup, and certainly a step up from where we were a week ago.
OU only had 1 chunk play last week, a 47-yard catch by Jalil Farouk. The rest of the passes were under 15 yards. Fans aren't seeing long connections like they did in the past with Baker and Dede or Hurts and Ceedee. Coaches say that not throwing the ball deep was intentional.
We got pretty vanilla. Once our drive started stalling at times, we didn't get back in rhythm. Some of that, we're not going to show everything game one, but at the same time, I felt like we needed to be a little bit more explosive in the passing game. And again, some of that is the calls, and some of that is the execution of the calls.
The tight ends last season only caught 2 touchdowns. Bauer Sharp in his first game as a Sooner, he's already got 1, and that goes with his 5 receptions and team-high 47 yards. He believes the tight end group Jackson Arnold's throwing the ball to is sharp.
Our whole tight end room is just full of a bunch of dogs, and we're just going to continue to keep just being easy targets for Jackson, just doing what we can to relate to him and like a man zone look or whatever we can. Just be friendly to him. That's the word I was looking for. Whatever works for this offense and for 11.
Let's talk about Jackson Arnold's stat line. 17 of 25 passing, that's nearly a 70% completion rate. With a lot of short fields because of all the defensive takeaways, only 141 yards, but 4 touchdowns. They kept the game plan simple, but he says he's okay with that.
Makes it a lot easier, getting the ball in the plus territory of the field. I mean, it makes our job so much easier. A lot less pressure off of us to go out and instead of doing a 90-yard drive, we're doing like a 45-yard drive, and that makes it a whole lot easier for the offense. We have a lot more play calls we can have at the 45. Maybe not shots, but a lot more things, red zone calls that we can expand and really execute out there.
Jackson Arnold and the rest of the Sooners will be throwing it back to the 50s tonight. Abby Williams has more.
OU football is throwing it way back to the Bud Wilkinson era. Stick with us to hear what blast from the past Brent Venables' squad is rocking with tonight.
Welcome back. The Sooners won 3 national titles during the Bud Wilkinson era, and I think OU fans today would appreciate seeing one of those again. Abby, how is OU honoring this legacy?
Well, a lot has changed since the 50s, but that Sooner swag remains the same. Brent Venables' squad is looking a little like Bud Wilkinson's tonight. And I wonder if these jerseys are enough to bring another national championship back to Norman. From past to present. The Bud Wilkinson era was over half a century ago, but his legacy lives on in Team 130. And Brent Venables says his squad has to carve their own path.
Obviously, we know uniforms don't win for you, so don't want it to be a distraction, but certainly it's a great opportunity for us to honor some of the former great teams here at Oklahoma.
And with some great alternates like these, it's no doubt jerseys sell out fast.
I can't really guarantee anything, but I do tell people, like, you know, you come in early game day, don't wait till after the game because we can't guarantee that it'll still be here because stuff goes really fast, especially like, you know, unique things like this that we don't get all the time.
So what do fans think about the jerseys?
Depending on each week, we have our, I would say, like, loyal fans who keep up with everything, and they come in and they ask us if we have this week's gear and like, you know, the back stock on it because they know it'll go fast if they don't get it before game day, if not early on game day.
And students are big fans of this look too.
No, actually, this is the first jersey I bought for myself. I've been wanting one because they're the best game day outfits to wear, in my opinion, but also just got to rep the Sooners.
Now, will the jerseys bring 3 more national championships to Norman? Only time will tell. But for now, the Sooners are just focused on winning the next game. And that game is at 6:45 tonight when OU hosts Houston. And keep an eye out for those jerseys because, yes, I'll be down on the field, but it will be head coach Brent Venables coaching the Sooners. But Kaylee Jo, don't I look so much like an OU head football coach?
You definitely do, Abby, especially with that football. Well, switching gears, before last Friday, Oklahoma hadn't hit a 50-yard field goal since 2021. Gameday U reporter Amy Acevedo kicked it with OU's new kicker this week, who's already making his mark in the SEC.
Last Friday, the Sooners kicked off their season successfully, defeating the Temple Owls 51-3. And while transfer place kicker Tyler Keltner was confident he could help the Sooners go into the SEC on the right foot,
when it's me out there in a game, there's a certain calmness that comes through, and I like I said, I think it's just everybody practicing. I'm just so confident in everybody and confident in what I do, and I go out there and it's just like pure bliss.
It's Keltner's relationship with his teammates that helps him keep calm on the field.
The 3 of us together do this so many times since I've been here. I mean, I've only been here a year, and we have so much chemistry and this and that. I trust them with everything when I go out there.
And it's the history of Gaylord Memorial Stadium that inspires Keltner to be his best on game day.
You know, this field's been here for 100 years. Seriously, that gives me goosebumps right now because I can't, fathom that. That was when my great-grandparents were being born. I mean, come on. So when you think about how many people have stepped on this field and put their best foot forward and represented OU, that humbles me almost instantly.
And it was in this stadium right behind me where last Friday, Keltner made some history of his own, becoming the first OU player to be awarded SEC Special Teams Player of the Week.
I did what Coach sent me out there to do, but to be a part of OU history like that and to just kind of wear that for everybody past OU and future, it's really special. It's something that I never imagined would happen.
Reporting in Norman, Amy Acevedo.
Thanks, Amy. When we come back, it just means more football. We'll take a look at OU's former conference foe and the rest of the SEC in Week 2, plus catch up with a former Sooner who's now dealing with the Dogs. You're sticking with us, but former OU offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby didn't stick with the Sooners. The new head coach is coming off of his first win as a head coach. I was at SEC Media Days where I asked Jackson Arnold and Lebby how they feel about one another. Former Oklahoma offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby found his way back to the SEC, but by switching Sooner. For Bulldog, OU quarterback Jackson Arnold proved there's no bad blood between him and the OC he committed to.
I think he's going to do great. I mean, he's a great coach, and on top of that, he's a great person too. I'm sure the coaches love working for him. I think he's going to build a great culture there. I love Coach Levy. Obviously, he was the OC I committed to, the coach I played for last year, besides the bowl game, obviously. But love Coach Levy. I wish the best for him at Mississippi State.
And Levy had this to say about whether or not he thinks Arnold is ready to start in the SEC.
I absolutely do. This is a guy that, again, was as good as there was in America coming out, got better every single day for the calendar year that we had him, and we'll play at a really high level.
OU and Mississippi State won't play this season, so Sooner fans will have to wait for that Venables and Levy matchup. Reporting from SEC Media Days, I'm Kaylee Jo Hommel. Well, I guess you could say it's raining cats and dogs in the studio because it's time to talk Cougars. UNLV played their cards right in H-Town for week 1, where U of H lost 27-7. That means they only scored 1 touchdown when OU scored 6 in their season opener.
It also was not a great defensive game for Houston. They let UNLV run all over them, allowing 195 yards. So OU needs a strong O-line performance so their running back room can break down the Cougar D-line and put up another 200-yard performance.
Yeah, Houston might have a problem. The Cougars only averaged 4 yards per play against UNLV, and the Sooners allowed 3.2 yards to Temple, who finished with a better total offense than Houston last season. The Cougars really need to be careful.
Houston had 2 turnovers in their game against UNLV. This Sooner defense had 6 takeaways last week. If Houston isn't careful with the ball tonight, the Sooners will make them pay for their mistakes because 27 of OU's 51 points against Temple came off of turnovers.
Well, Oklahoma has left the Big 12, so let's leave 2 and bring our focus to the SEC. And just because it's out-of-conference matchups, this SEC slate is still hot. Emily, what game do you think football fans should be turning on today?
Well, Kaylee Jo, fans need to flip their channel to Woo Pig Suey. Arkansas taking on a not well-liked name for the Sooners, Oklahoma State. OU needs to watch out, though. A great OSU performance could make the Pokes jump the Sooners in the AP poll.
And OU's first SEC opponent, Tennessee, heads out to Charlotte to take on the North Carolina State Wolfpack. After an easy matchup last week against Chattanooga, Josh Heupel and his squad are in for a huge road test tonight at 6:30.
I'm taking it to the team up north to the Big House, fresh off the natty win, Texas at Michigan. The Wolverines don't have Jim Harbaugh and, more importantly, Connor Stalions in the building anymore. Plus, Texas beat Alabama on the road last year, so they definitely will not back down from this challenge today.
Well, when we come back, it's back to Oklahoma. The anchors and I will break down what you need to keep your eyes on when the Claws come out on Owen Field. Welcome back, and we're back to talking about the Sooners. It's now time to take a look at who and what to watch for in this clash of the 713 and the 405. The last time the pair met in 2019, Jalen Hurts had an explosive game, but this time around, it's going to be Dion Burks blowing up. OU's tango with Temple should really just be renamed The Burks Show. The wide receiver caught 6 passes for 36 yards and 3 touchdowns under the Friday night lights. All 3 of these touchdowns were in the first half, which ties for the most in OU history. His longest reception was only 14 yards and he averaged 6 yards per catch, but come on, we all saw his 64-yard and 50-yard touchdown catches in the spring game. Burks can really do it all, and he's going to do it again against Houston.
Dion was dominant, but that doesn't hide how the Sooners struggled on 3rd down. Here's Andrell Anthony getting stopped short. They converted just 1 of 12 and now rank dead last in the country in 3rd down conversions, very different from finishing 7th last season. OU did save a few of their drives on 4th down, going a perfect 3 for 3. And upcoming right here, Arnold moving the chains with this rush. They set themselves up, though, for failure, averaging 8.4 yards to go on 3rd. The Sooners must capitalize on earlier downs to improve. By blocking and creating space, the backfield can make the plays they need.
And the Sooners totaled a whopping 6 sacks and 9 tackles for loss. They dominated the O-line physically and with speed. Defensive back Kendall Dolby even got in the action, as you see there. OU recorded a sack on nearly 20% of Temple's passing attempts. That ranks 3rd nationally. Freshman Marcus Strong led the way with 2 sacks as part of the tenacious pass rush the Sooners were bringing every time Temple looked to pass. The mayhem the front 7 caused is a big reason Temple only crossed midfield 3 times.
Who would have thought that the first SEC Player of the Week award would be the kicker? Amy already told you Tyler Keltner went 3 for 3 on field goal attempts. The Florida State transfer made kicks from 24, 42, and 50 yards. The first 50-yard field goal for the Sooners since 2021. He also went 6 for 6 in PAT attempts. Keltner became the second Sooner ever to make a 50-plus yard kick in his first attempt donning the Crimson and Cream. The first was all the way back in 1973. He earned the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week award for his efforts. And the roar in the stadium when that 50-yarder went through the uprights was deafening.
We're not done yet. There's still a whole lot more football to look at. When we return, we will have some new analysts on the set ready to give some Week 2 picks. Welcome back. It's now time for my favorite part of the show. I'm now joined with Peyton Davis, Darby McCormick, and Brooke Griggs, who will give their picks for the country's most anticipated Week 2 matchups. And let's start off strong. What better way to test your team than heading to the Big House to face the defending national champion? Peyton, can Quinn Ewers and the Sarkeesian squad make it out of Ann Arbor alive?
It has been 33 years since a top 5 non-conference opponent was in Ann Arbor to take on Michigan. And let's just say it didn't end well for the Wolverines. Although Michigan has an elite secondary, I predict that Texas wideouts Isaiah Bond and Matthew Golden can break through it.
Bad news 33 years ago, but the time is now for Michigan. Speaking of wideouts, the Longhorns lost their top 5 last season. Yeah, Bond and Golden did good against Colorado State, but against the national champions, go blue.
Hear me out. Texas offense racked up over 500 yards against Colorado State last week, almost double the amount as Michigan's offense. And if UT can keep Michigan from running the ball, it's not looking too good for the Wolverines. Give me Texas.
Well, Brooke, let's take it to another team in orange. The Volunteers are also hitting the road this weekend with a top 25 matchup against North Carolina State. What will be stronger, the Tennessee offense or the Wolfpack defense?
Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava just set a school record with 314 passing yards in the first half. Last week, the Wolfpack had just 2 sacks, and that lack of pressure is not going to be enough to scare Iamaleava. Go Vols.
Hey, I think we're forgetting the fact that this game is going to be played at a neutral site, more specifically where the Carolina Panthers play. You think a redshirt freshman as a QB can stand that kind of pressure? Give me NC State.
Okay, that redshirt freshman, he is a part of a triple threat. Nico Iamaleava, Dylan Simpson, and Dante Thornton aren't here to play nice. And although I think the game will be close, I don't know if the Wolfpack will be ready for these 3. Give me Tennessee.
Who doesn't like a good rivalry game, especially a historic one dating back to 1898? Yeah, that's 126 years ago. Nebraska leads the series against Colorado 49-21, but will they be able to make it half 100 this week?
Yes, the game was closer than it should have been last week against North Dakota State, but 20% of Colorado's completions went for 20-plus yards thanks to Shedeur Sanders. The Buffs have won their last 3 meetings with Nebraska, and I expect this weekend to be a 4-peat.
Last year, Colorado whooped Nebraska 36-14, but now the Cornhuskers are in their 2nd season with head coach Matt Rule playing the Buffs at home. I think we're hearing Coach Prime's theme music, though.
I don't know about that. We know Colorado beat Nebraska last season, but this is a new year with a new quarterback. 5-star recruit Dylan Raiola led his team by storm in last week's game. So unless Colorado pulls out some defense I haven't seen yet, give me Nebraska all day.
We can't forget about the game across the street. Will the Sooners send the Cougars back to Space City with their 2nd loss of the season?
OU all the way.
Definitely no catnip here for the Cougars. I'm picking OU.
I'm a boomer, so it's definitely a Sooner.
Well, that's all we have for you this morning. For Peyton Davis, Darby McCormick, and Brooke Griggs, I'm Kaylee Jo Hommel. Thanks for watching Game Day U, where it just means more.